All right, I'm going to get down to business today. So it's been a while since I've done current events because current events aren't really looked at on my analytics as much as everything else like Resident Evil and my playthroughs. It doesn't get as much traction, but I felt the need to talk about this because it's very important to me that I talk to my community, to my Black women. There was a viral, multiple part video thing that occurred, and I'm not going to talk about their names. I literally will not speak their name this entire video. I will be referring to them as man and woman because this is a cautionary tale of struggle love, especially and particularly Black love that so often is pushed upon Black women to love, honor, support in sickness and in health, in heck fire, and no other circumstances. Women are to be there, Black women in particular, to pick up the pieces and be the come-up wife or girlfriend so that when the Black man is successful, he can go find himself light-skinned, ambiguous to Black, but not Black at all. And if she is, he is constantly humbling her. He is constantly berating her in public, in private, constantly putting her down. And some may say it is the fault of the woman for staying. But when you are abused, you do not see clearly. How come there is no call to action for men to set men straight? Before we get started, I just want to let you guys know I stream on Twitch. Link is on my YouTube page. I talk a lot on Twitter, so if you want to follow me there, link is also on my YouTube page. This is going to be a serious topic, and I don't know how long it's going to be, so watch it in increments. Stop acting like you can't watch a long video. No, let's talk about this Black Love viral video thing. A lot of women are victim blaming right now. When women are in abusive relationships, it's stupid to say it's all their fault. Some women, at the very least, acknowledge the man's flaws briefly, in one breath, quickly. Oh, he's terrible, but the woman, you just a terrible, you sick. Do you really think any woman needs to hear that? Particularly Black women, because there is an unspoken, very spoken caste system when it comes to women. White women are at the top and they're able to get what they want. Black women are at the bottom and we have to fight for everything and do 50-50 and everything. Some men, some incels, quarter of a men, love to talk about how women do this and do that. And what if men did this? What if men, you do. Whatever you can say that a woman has done, men have done 30 times over. But let me continue. I'll talk about that later. They briefly talk about the man's flaws, but their priority is to humble women. Someone with low self-esteem. This man is abusive. Him saying he doesn't like his wife or girlfriend or whatever they are, this is a cautionary tale, and this tale does not need a name or titles. It is merely an example to strive against. I think this man has embarrassed this woman enough. I don't need to say her name. I don't need to give him clout. If you see the picture, you know who I'm talking about and you can do your own research. Saying you do not like your wife or girlfriend and living with them for years enough to have children is not honesty. Juxtapose that to his marriage, his children. The fact that he's still there next to her and doesn't love, let alone like her, means he's either lying that he hates her or he's lying in his actions. People love to pick and choose what actions and words they choose to listen to and watch. Basically, take into consideration everything when dealing with people in general, men specifically. While men can say whatever they want and be validated with correction or space, women cannot. More particularly, Black women cannot. And it's interesting that any women simps, link is in the description to my women simp video. It is very old. I'm sorry, it sounds a little jacked up compared to what I do now, but it's still valid and it's still very relevant, especially considering what happened with Khloe Kardashian. So go watch that video before or after this one. I do not care. But it's interesting that Any women simps who simp for men who don't care about them would both sides this situation with this man and this woman. When we live in a patriarchy, when we get 2 steps forward, we get pushed 9 steps back and are shamed and berated, are told to walk 4 more steps back until we take 5. Remember the anti-simp movement? Remember the anti-feminist movement? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The biggest issue I have with this situation is the women hating on this abuse victim. Now, before I get into this, and people are going to start talking to me about how I treated Chloe versus how I treated this woman, there are 2 different situations. Khloe Kardashian, like I said, the caste system of women in a patriarchy. White women have been able to do whatever they want, be a part of slavery, be a part of everything. White cisgender women also benefit from the patriarchy, more so than any other group of women in our society. She is at the top. She's got billions of dollars. Why is she still dealing with a struggle dusty? This woman has far less money, has far less clout, has far less situation, and has far less self-esteem. Chloe is being stupid. Chloe is not married. This woman is an abuse victim. If you cannot see the difference, I suggest you leave because you're not going to like the rest of what I have to say. Now let me give you a rational, plausible example of a what-if situation. If a woman yelled about how she hated the man she slept with and had children with and married without being forced to do this, it wasn't arranged, no one put a gun to her head and said, you marry this man or you die instantly. And this does happen constantly. When women merely have standards for men to reach. Women, oh, you are being a B word, you're B-wordy, you're naggy. But above all, they're stupid in the eyes of society. Because we have a choice on who to be with. Black women specifically are told to choose our mates better when we have issues arise in our relationships that most of the time are avoidable in hindsight. But most things are anyway. But this loser scrub can complain about how he thinks his wife, mind you, his wife is ugly to him. She's terrible. He hates her the way she looks. She's so desperate for him, but he's still there though. When are men accountable for what they say? When? Because at this point, with this situation, with this man, I don't see any accountability. I see a lot of women talking about, oh, that woman's got so low self-esteem. Look at you, trash. Look at you, couldn't possibly be me. Wow. Okay. The difference between this woman and Khloe Kardashian, like I said, Khloe Kardashian has a lot more money, has a lot more everything. She does not have to deal with Tristan Thompson. She is not married to him. I don't care how many baby daddies you don't want. You're rich. You could have 1 billion if you wanted to. You could have one man for every country if you wanted to. You are rich. You choose to stay in this struggle, and that is why I call you stupid Khloe Kardashian. This woman is not stupid to me because she is being constantly abused. If he did not want to be with her, he should have filed a restraining order because that is in his right and I believe he is an American citizen, to do when he feels threatened or in a space of someone who should not share that space with him. The rational thing to do is not to marry someone you hate. If you do that, you are obligated to treat them with respect. Or at the very least, human common decency. And we don't do just the least in this house. Or get a divorce. You are obligated. If you don't want that obligation, do not get married. Do not play house. Men can sit with legs crossed and monocle popping on their left eye and say, my, what a king indeed. Let us clap for his excellency. Ha ha. Every time a man says something negative about a woman, especially and particularly a black man saying something terrible about a black woman. Now, some women simps are going to complain and say, oh, we're talking about what the woman did wrong because I only care about women, yada, 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 yada. You don't care about women. You care about humiliating and humbling women. And that is not the same thing. Girls are humbled at birth. That's how you can create a black woman who has such low self-esteem to stay with a scrub who says he hates her, who acts as he hates her. I don't care what his actions are. Marrying her, oh, I settled. then you need to settle on being a good husband and a good father, because I see neither before me. And you know what? I'm going to talk about it because you made it the public's business. I didn't know anything about you. I didn't know anything about your stupid freaking gosh darn music 3 days ago. I didn't know. I was in bliss not knowing who either of you were. But now that I do, I'm going to speak on it. She gave him free money. He was a gold digger, and I have yet to see anyone say he's a gold digger. That's only for women, I guess, black women in particular, when we have standards, when we want a man that has money, because we're giving you a good-looking body, a good-looking face. The least you can do if you're going to be ugly and trash and smell and have nothing to offer is currency, because that's what makes this world go round. Long gone are the days where women are going to sit there and lower their standards because the men around them cannot live up to them. I will sooner move out of my home and go somewhere else before I settle with any scrub around me. She clinged on to his ballsack until he realized he had no other options, because if he did have options, he would most definitely be there and not in her bed. Now that I got that off my chest, let's talk about what this cautionary tale of this black struggle love story has to offer. She does have low self-esteem. I heard a popular black woman, whom I have clocked as someone who most often uses patriarchal talking points to say the woman was a red flag. And that is what gave me the drive to talk about this issue in a video, because I saw this before and I literally was going to pass over it. I literally was like, I can't deal with this. It's just another, how many times am I going to have to see a black woman be humbled by a black man and nothing change? How long? But I feel like I need to get this off my chest. I need to get this out into the world. I know a lot of people are going to be upset. I know a lot of the incels and losers are going to be upset because I'm shaking the table, ruining the status quo of them being put on pedestals. And the women simps are going to hate me because they don't have the guts to say this. They don't have the self-esteem to say this. As I said, she is an abuse victim who may have chosen to be around him, but they are married. And if I'm not mistaken, and even if they didn't have a ceremony, common law states if people live as married, eventually they are legally wed and they have children together. If he hates her so much, why is he still there? Don't give me that, oh, he grew to love. That's not love. He is still treating her like crap. That is not love. If you think that, I suggest you do your research before you say anything in my comment section. Anything. I watched the videos. I heard what he had to say. I heard what she had to say. I heard what they had to say. I may not know everything about their life, but I know enough to say this is wrong and unacceptable. And I will not sit here idly and allow it to occur without saying my piece. If he hates her so much, why is he still there? It is not because of the kids. If he hates her so much, why is he still there? Every woman simp is asking, why is she still there? And saying, oh, he's honest. Y'all want men to be honest. But when he is, y'all mad, LOL. Like, this is not a laughing matter. I'm not laughing. I will not laugh this entire time. This is not funny. Back at you, buddy. When black women set standards, we are told they are too high for the bums that are around us. We are physically attacked and verbally abused, called ugly. And we didn't want to be with you, no way. When we say no to them, and you know it. Even the women simps can nod silently and agree. I wouldn't find it too far out of the stratosphere to think that some women would rather not deal with that. And how they deal with it may not be the best, but it's a possibility. And blaming women with every conclusion is obviously still getting the same results. So let's change the formula, yeah? Can we have some women camaraderie? Ever? I think if her mother or some woman or any woman in her life could have swayed her decision to wed a man who actually cares about her, who at least likes her, and I hate saying at least because I am so sick of black women in particular settling for least. He did not settle. He has gotten a gold mine for any incel, a woman who will love you no matter what. You should not love someone no matter what. That is a lie that has been told to women, because men do not love women no matter what. If women are pregnant, Some of them will cheat on them because, oh, well, you're just not attractive to me anymore. After babies that you made with her, oh, I'm not attracted to you anymore. I'm out. Deuces. How is that in sickness and in health? How is that for better or worse? Don't even want to go to counseling. Just out. I'm out. I'm outie 5,000. That's what they do. If you don't think that, you are ill-informed and you need to do your research before you say anything in my comment section. I'm not arguing about this. I will not argue about this with losers who just made some Smurf account with 1 subscriber. I refuse to. If you want to come talk to me, talk with your 10,000 subscriber channel. Don't come at me with 1, 2 subscribers and say some crap. Say it to me with your whole real account. Because you're on my whole real account. This is not a Smurf. Men and women from every culture knows that the majority of men we see out in society will not stay with women in sickness and in health because women allow that. We must be stronger and we must set boundaries safely. Because like I said, when we do set boundaries and we do not take into account danger, we are put in danger because men are emotional. Men are too emotional. Men cannot control their fists. Men cannot control their emotions. Particularly, black men have shown this and displayed this countless times. Countless. And I can already hear the freaking quarter of a man crawling out of his freaking quarter of a man cave basement talking about, what if men said that women are emotional? You already do. You already do. You already do everything. Every time I do something, you guys say, what if? You've already done that. So what's after what if? What is after what if? Because I'm waiting. I think it's time to stop using the word constructive criticism to be mean to people and call it just being honest. Like I said, he isn't being honest. He's not living honestly. And people just hearing what he says and turning to the woman and saying, well, you deserve to suffer and hate yourself because you choose to stay is infuriating. It's sad and it's horrible. But she is still abused. This man coming out and saying with pride he's living with someone he can't stand and married someone he hated isn't honesty. You are mistaken. You need to go dust off your freaking dictionary and look up the word honesty. Because you do not know what the definition is. I felt so sick watching that black woman say, he's just being honest. It's your fault that you stay in there. First of all, like I said, she is conditioned. Who knows what he said? And you know that you have met with some black men who will say something and do another thing and do something and do another thing and beg and plead for you to take him back. Yes, I am subscribed to saying, do not take him back, no matter what. There are too many men out in this world to just struggle with one. Too many men. Men understand that about women. But women do not understand that about men. They think that their only option is the one person in their face. It made me almost want to throw up to see her say he was being honest. He is not living an honest life. If he hates her so much or hated her so much before marriage or living together or having children together, he wouldn't have done any of those things. So having conflicting words and actions is usually judged and scolded when women do it, saying, oh, well, women are so confusing. They're so complex. Say what you mean. And I support telling women to say what they mean and do what they mean. You must have the drive. You must have the strength to go through with those actions. But at the exact same time, men do not. He married her, supposedly, had children, and still sticking around all her life, making money off of her, taking her money, making money off of this black love lie. This is struggle love. This is struggle love. Love should never be a struggle that you perpetuate. There may be things in life that occur, but cheating is not something that just magically occurs out in the wilderness. So don't put that in there as something that can't be helped. I don't care what he does. I really don't care what his occupation is. Rapper, singer, songwriter. I don't care. You're making money off of her. If you weren't, you could drop her tomorrow and do what you did, but you're not going to because she's too profitable to you, to your ego and your pockets. When men say you can leave anytime, You should leave if you feel uncomfortable, disregarded, disrespected, or undesired in that space. This patriarchy breeds women who have little to no self-esteem or support pushing them to happiness and not marriage to any man that will have them. All right, let's talk real quick about that Cardi B thing with the racist club that keeps dark-skinned black women outside. This is a good example of what I mean. That club refuses service and entry to dark-skinned black women, and black women still stayed outside in the cold. To me, that's dumb. That is dumb. That club is not education. It's not a service or place that couldn't be found elsewhere with better music, better food, and how about not racist or colorist? Black people in general, and black women specifically, need to choose their battles more carefully, because fighting to go into a space where you are not only not safe or cared about or desired, but you get nothing of value that makes a quarter of that suffering worth it. An example of something that is worth it is inside the civil rights movement. Without it, where would we be? I don't know, but I do know where we are because of it. This is not the civil rights movement. This is not a situation where you have to sit in a place where you are told you are not allowed to go. Not for some broke club you won't. Now, for a sec, let's drag Cardi B, the queen of colorism. She made her money off of black men stealing from them and drugging them. That's out of her mouth. She said that. There's no alleged. She said, yeah, I drugged them. Like, y'all know the video. Y'all know it. She also has no allegiance to women at all and has the he knows where home is mentality. He knows where home is mentality basically is when a woman is fine with their man cheating as long as they come home to them, regardless of what diseases they bring in that home that will not be seen on them but will show fully and prominently on a woman. If you don't know that, some diseases that you get that are sexually transmitted may not be seen with the naked eye on cisgendered men, meaning born men may have infections or diseases that they carry and pass on to their sexual partners, and they don't even know if they're not tested. But it will always appear on a woman, which is very interesting and strange. It seems like it's a man-made disease. Another mentality Cardi B subscribes to is the he's my man's now mentality. The he's my man's now mentality is the mentality that women take on when they see a man that they like and see a very weak man that can be swayed out of a relationship however long they've been in it. And if you can sway a man out of a relationship, why do you want that man back? Why do you want that man anyway? These two mentalities are very toxic and harmful that put no one at risk but women, which makes her not an ally to women. I like TWAP, and I like 3 other songs of Cardi B's, and most of them are features with Lizzo or Megan. I'm not a fan of her. She called black women slurs against their color and has no respect for black women in general, unless they can make her money, i.e. Megan Thee Stallion and Lizzo. Her saying, let the black woman in here, and then still walking in that establishment supposedly, like she's making some ironic joke at the expense of black women, while they sit outside in the cold still, does not grant her any points towards me forgiving her colorism. She still entered the club, if I'm not mistaken, and didn't tell them to take their business elsewhere while leaving as well. She shouldn't do that for the cameras. She shouldn't do that so black women in particular will buy her music. She needs to do it for herself. And if she's doing it for either one of those things, then she doesn't have to do it. Then she doesn't have to do it. She can just be a terrible, deplorable human being. Maybe one day Cardi B will get better, and maybe this is her journey, but I'm not going to be there for her journey, and I'm not going to be there when she's done. That can be somebody else's hero. She's just not. I'm over Cardi B. And people are defending her, saying, well, she's got a half black daughter now, and da-da-da-da. You shouldn't have to have a black child to care about black people. End of discussion. Also, the B in Cardi B does not mean black. She is not black. Her parents are Hispanic. She is not black. Any privileges, like saying the N-word, or like speaking on black issues, is not her ground, not even in her time zone. And like, what privileges, like, at what cost do you want to freely say the N-word or pretend to be black when it suits you? Be a slave for a few hundred years, go through Jim Crow, and continue to fight white supremacy while they constantly pin every marginalized group against you to dwindle your chances of having any allies outside of the black community. Do that for like 400 or 500 years, then maybe you can say the N-word. But like, until then, Why do you want to? I am black, and I will never say that word because I don't find it to be a privilege or taking power back whatsoever, and I hope one day humanity forgets that word and we never hear it again. But back to this black struggle love viral video thing. There's like 4 parts or so that I've only seen through other people commenting and watching it because I refuse to give them a single view. So I don't know specifically their real names. I know their stage names, but I don't need to know their name. This hate-love relationship is all too common in the black community. Specifically, it makes me sad. And it's not enough that this dude gets to be a gold digger, not care about this woman, and embarrass her through the guise of telling the truth. When I will continue to say this, if your mouth says I love you and your fists say I hate you, someone is lying. And that someone is you. Your actions cannot conflict with your words without you being a liar. He is not telling the truth and he is not being honest. She should have left, but she is stuck in an abusive relationship. Abuse doesn't always mean getting freaking punched in the face. Abuse can be emotional. It can be tactical. It can be manipulation. What does he say behind closed doors that makes her feel like he is worth it? While all these men are laughing at this woman for staying with this abuser, and the women are shaking their heads and saying it couldn't be them, you have no idea what her life was like, her childhood. An adult does not act like this if they were loved as a child and had everything they needed. She would have self-esteem. She would have accepted the truth that he displayed in his words alone when he claimed he said that he didn't like her, but insists on taking her money and accepting her accolades for being a bum. At the end of all this, both say don't follow their lead, and that's the least they can do for society. But they're still together. She's still being abused. He still doesn't care about her. There's no growing to love someone. There's just being able to accept disappointment and settling. He settled if he hated her so much. The choice he gave her to leave before the children or whatever, whenever he made this contract written in blood agreement to stay by her side, which binds him to stay until death, he settled. She's still abused. She's settling for a life of misery and torment. I would feel terrible if I learned my man was treating his ex like this before me. I don't care how crazy you think she is. And speaking of crazy, we never talk about femicide in the black community due to men killing his wife or girlfriend. I think that's crazy. Arson. How many men on 90 Day Fiancé have had issues with their girlfriends, burned the house with the woman inside from 90 Day Fiancé and being abusive to them? Throwing acid on a woman's face, biting at their eye, I think that's crazy. But when women key your car because you cheated after 50 times of doing nothing and 50 times she stupidly brought you back into her life, it's automatically the woman's fault. They must take responsibility of the man's faults because they accepted his actions after the first time, despite his words saying he wouldn't. Example, Tristan Thompson. Eventually, you are the fool, women. But literally, men are the jesters of the entire court for wasting your time. When he could be free if he'd leave. If he'd leave and not leaving so they can blame everything on you because his parents didn't raise him right. He could leave. I hate like any man says, oh, you are not bound. Like Ja on freaking the Chantel, Family Chantel. Oh, you are not bound. That's instantly, I walk out the door instantly. And I go to the police station because no doubt he's trying to follow you because he didn't mean it. You called his bluff. You need to go immediately to the police station. Immediately to a bright space, gas station, anywhere for your safety because they don't want you to leave. They still want those accolades for free without giving you any sort of compensation for your misery prior. At the end of all that, everything I just said would fall on deaf ears, as men, black men specifically, will say, well, we're not going to stop. It's up to women to change us. Like Steve Harvey admits to being a horrible, deplorable human being to women, but blames them for allowing that when I said that I did that, it was their fault. Like, Steve Harvey, something they have no choice in because of their low self-esteem. So do you not see a continuous cycle of men pretending like they have no autonomy over their own bodies except when they want to. They pick and choose when they have autonomy. Women are fighting for autonomy as we speak, through the courts, through life, in our society. How about don't be a terrible human being? If purge exists, I can't say that I would participate in killing someone, but others might. And the only thing stopping them is law. I think morality should go beyond law. Like I said in my consent videos, link is in the description. I think the age of consent should be 25 years old, with some exceptions for people of the same age or 2 years younger, in some cases 2 years older. We have clauses in law. So don't act like this is impossible. It's very possible, but it's implausible because so many predators want to be with children. As it is, they are in heaven right now because the consent age is 18 and 16 in some podunk backwoods states. To be honest, I subscribe to women making changes in themselves to do something different. Because as it stands, if we all sit there and still do the stupid stuff, stupid cycle of, oh, I'm not going to cheat no more. You know how it is. This, that, and the other, this, that, third. Okay, I'll let you back in my house. And then she's on the front cover because she's dead. Or you don't even have to, it doesn't even have to be that way. It doesn't even have to go into the femicide, which it still is a problem in our community. It still is a problem that women are being killed at a rapid rate by men who can't control their emotions. Women are so, I think it's really interesting because in societies where women have to be silent, where women have to be kept silent in spaces where men are doing business, I think it takes a lot of strength to be silent in a place where you're not allowed to speak at all, even though you can just go online and see that women are speaking other places. I think women are very strong for that. Please make changes, women, when things aren't working. Constant waiting for men to change does not change them. They have no incentive to. Even if they change for another woman, I would rather do that in my absence than fail in my presence. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is the definition of insanity. And it's not good enough to just throw your hands up and say, oh, well, I'm a victim into the situation, when you don't have to be always. The woman we have been discussing is deep into a psychosis of low self-esteem and tragedy. The way they talk about their relationship, if you can call it that, was so sad. And the fact that they spoke like it was normal is scary for girls who think all they have to do to get a man, any man, is to cling on to them until they give in. You have options. The world is big and there are tons of men out there. If you've been hurt by 100 men, there is still one out there that will not hurt you or make excuses. You do not have to accept the bare minimum because you think there's no one else. You can't expect him to ride in on a horse and find you all the time. Sometimes you have to make an effort to find someone who has your interests. Like be in a space where you are comfortable, in a bookstore, like somewhere where you are safe. Make an effort to find someone who is not just there for you to take everything you have and give nothing they have. Find someone who enjoys your time, enjoys your soul, enjoys your appearance, everything about you. Maybe there are some things that he doesn't like, but if those are too much, you have the option to say, okay, we're done, and find someone else. Life is long enough for you to find someone that does not treat you like crap. Along with all the requirements you allow him to bargain, don't accept bums, because bums beget bums. And we will never rid this world of them if we successful Black women continue to be in non-reciprocal relationships where you're the only one trying. Sometimes it is best to leave and don't wait for someone to say they're done. You can be done too. Men do not solely have that option to say they're done. If they're sitting there waiting for you to quit them, stop waiting and go. Why would you want to be in a relationship where they're just saying, leave, I don't want you, like abuse, especially if that is your wife. You do not have to stay because of children either. Yes, children can succeed in a two-parent household, but what do you think they're getting when mommy and daddy hate each other? Or one is abusing the other? What is the give and take of staying unhappy for this fictitious excuse for the children? Any man can be a father. Schools, The world, society does not require that you take a blood test to prove who fathered the baby that you have. Men have but one unregulated step within the 9-month process. And those like Tristan Thompson, who cannot control his semen, should most definitely be regulated, as he doesn't have enough of himself to give equally to each child he helps bring into this world. Women are constantly belittled, torn down, and dragged for staying. But how do we get here? The government is trying to take what little autonomy women have in choosing whether to have an abortion or not. And women who aid in this path to tear Roe versus Wade down either have enough money to secretly get it done, like the Kardashians, or don't realize how much this will impact them, their children, every woman they know. And your concern for women should not reach the limit of only having sympathy for those you know. I don't know this woman we speak about in this video. I don't even know her real name. And I'm not going to look because I know what I need to know about this sad, sad situation. And I just want to tell her, wherever she is out there, whoever embodies what this woman has gone through, you matter. You are more valuable than he has made you feel, than every man has made you feel in your life, because you only get to this place when every man, every woman, every person around you tears you down. And you feel like you are nothing. You are more valuable than he has made you feel. For this idiot to treat this woman so terribly, and for everyone to just say it's her fault because she stayed, when it's his fault for being horrible. It's his fault for being horrible. If not him being horrible, she wouldn't have to decide whether or not to leave or stay. Yes, she should leave, but she is an abuse victim. Just because you can't see the bruises he has left on her doesn't mean he is not abusive. This lunatic, this idiot is hideous. His beard is disgusting. The way he talks is foul. The way he carries himself like he's all that is laughable. Hearing his voice makes me sick to my stomach. He should not have half of the pride he has in himself. And all of the pride he has comes from this woman raising him up for no reason. You wasted your time with him, but life is not over for you. You can still find the one for you. You can still be happy by yourself. Don't feel stuck. To all women, do not feel stuck in your position. If you feel like you are in danger, and if you leave, you will die, try to find a safe way to escape it. I think it is so terrible. And I think it's so awful for men, these incels, to gather and cluster and do the what if council and talk about the what if men do this, what if men do that. You already do that to us. You already do that to us. Any what if scenario that a man could say when they see a woman having some sort of agency, some sort of control over her life. Men have already had that pleasure and luxury and privilege. What I am saying is, do not listen to the incels. Do not allow them to make you feel bad for having standards. Do not lower your standards for anyone. And with that, I am done.